Hello and welcome back. My name is Zoe and this is part 2 or maybe 1, depends on when you start watching this. Or what I upload first, but was ready first. But this is the second part of my best books of 2021 series. The first video, or the second, like I said, it depends on which video you watch first, was about fantasy and contemporary, and this video only includes romance, thrillers and one non-fiction book. So let's start talking about them, because my voice is like really shitty right now. Let's start talking about this. We start with romance because this is the biggest chunk. I'm generally surprised by it, that there's so much romance books on it, but let's start talking about them. The first book on this list is a book which I don't know where to put this. Is this really a romance book? Is this a fantasy? Is this contemporary? It's historical fiction. Is historical fiction his own genre? But it's the third book of the Outlander series. If you don't know the Outlander series, it's easy to say. There's Claire Randall. She is on the honeymoon. She goes on a honeymoon with her husband, Frank Randall, after the Second World War, and they drive to Scotland, and in Scotland you have these kind of stones that's standing there, not Stonehenge. There are different ones, and one day on this honeymoon she walks through these stones and she fell through a stone, and she is now 200 years before. She's the same date, same month, but 200 years earlier. And then she meets Jamie Fraser. Jamie Fraser, the man. He is really the man. So, and you now follow in the Outlander series the story about Claire and how she lives in the past. And actually, in the German versions there are some facts for the book, with the historical fact that is talked about in the actual book right now in the moment. The historical facts are correct, how much you can say they're correct. For first thought I thought Diana Gabaldon is a historian, but she is she studies sea biology, so she's not a historian. But I really enjoyed the story. I don't want to explain much why I love the third one, but I really love there in the book Jamie and Claire and Brianna and Roger, the story that was built up. So I can't really talk about this because you see the books are really thick and everything I would say is a spoiler. But I would say if you don't want to read this big chunky book, you can definitely watch this series on Netflix, or on, here in Germany it's on Netflix, so if it's not on Netflix and it's on another streaming portal, I don't know that, so I'm sorry for that. But it's really close to the series. It's almost the same thing, but only faster to watch than read. And the producer for this TV show is the same one that is the producer now for the Agatha series. So I hope we get the same kind of style. Not the same style because it's different setting, but the episodes of the Outlander series are really long. You have almost 1 hour episodes, and you have per season 21 episodes. So this is amazing and I love it. So 1 of my 5 stars. The graphic novels Heartstopper series from Alice Oseman. The second one is not on the list because it only got 4 stars from me, but it doesn't matter. The whole series is so heartwarming. I cried so much, especially on the 4th book. I cried so much while reading this. The graphic novels are so amazing. I can definitely recommend this one to everyone. Plus, please make sure to read the trigger warnings for it before going into the books, especially for the 3rd and this 4th one. The mention of eating disorder and other mental illnesses is really heavy, but I really think that Nick and Charlie are such cute characters and they are perfect for each other, and I really liked it. And I'm so excited to see the 5th book of the series this year, hopefully. We have Get a Life Chloe Brown and Take a Hint Dani Brown from Talia Hibbert. I read Get a Life Chloe Brown this year twice. Last year twice, and I really loved the story about Chloe Brown because she's chronically ill and she made a list with things she wants to do again that she currently can't do because of her illness. And this was so amazing to read, not only for the relationship she builds up with Red, which is also cute, but her journey is so cute. I really loved it, and I can definitely recommend this to you. Plus, please make sure that you read the acknowledgements or author's note in the beginning, because Talia Hibbert writes their trigger warnings for her books. This is so amazing. I also saw them on the when you purchase the books on Amazon. I know if you don't really want to purchase them on Amazon, I understand it, but she writes it in the description of the book. She writes the trigger warnings for it, or on Goodreads also, so you can look this up, which trigger warnings are on it, or you can use Storygraph, and then when you say it's okay, you can buy it somewhere else and read it, and everything is fine. And Take a Hint Dani Brown is also a cute story. You have here Dani Brown, who is the sister from Chloe Brown, and she wants to really be successful as a professor in what she does. So she's at a university, and she is currently doing her professor and or doctor, stuff like that. And there is this one. He's the security guard on this university, the boy of the story, Saphir, and he rescued Danica after a false fire alarm out of a stuck elevator, and he saved her, and this got filmed, and the student who filmed this put this on the internet, and this goes viral because the security guard, Saphir, is not only a security guard at this random university, he's also an ex-rugby player, and this hashtag goes viral, so Danica and he try to have a fake relationship and to make some money with the kind of publicity that goes with this hashtag, so he can use the money to help children, which is kind of cute, but also fake relationships, okay, but it's really cute, and I really love the story. Danica and Saphir are so funny. They're so funny characters. I love so much while reading that, and this was just this dry ass humor that I like personally, and just how they have a conversation. It was so funny for me. And what I also liked in this book is that there is the representation of a general anxiety disorder, and it is not on the woman's side, it's on the man's side, which is also amazing because it's not that common that in books or movies the boy or the man has an mental illness. It's always a girl because men are men and they kind of have a mental illness, which is sucks because it's not true. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I just love it. I read this for the 24-hour readathon. I did a vlog about it. In this vlog I also read Concrete Rose, which is also a 5-star for me. And I just loved it. You have this mixed perspective from the current situation where Poppy and Alex are, but also what happened 10 years ago, then 9 years ago and 8 years ago. And you slowly get know to each character, how they are building the relationship that they have, and then you get more and more into it, why they have this breaking point in the relationship. And they both are friends, they met at college, and Poppy and Alex always get together on vacation, and they are not only going on vacations, like they're going on these broke ass vacations with no money, and after years of not talking to each other, Poppy tries to get back into this relationship with him, like this friendship, and goes on that one last vacation with Alex, and this is then what we're reading, and this was so cute. I love Poppy and Alex. I love this kind of mixed perspective of the story with 10 years ago and then 9 years ago. I just love it, and then the current situation. I enjoy this so much, and Emily Henry's writing style is so quick and funny, and I just love it. I read Red, White and Royal Blue again from Casey McQuiston. I just love the story from Alex and Henry. This is so cheesy and stupid, the whole story, because you have Alex, who is the son of the first female president of the United States of America, and he falls in love with the Prince of England, Prince Henry, who is the second in the who gets the crown. He's not it. He's not a crown prince, but you get what I mean. And just the whole relationship, how it's built up. This is my enemies to lovers that I enjoyed in the whole story. And this was so unrealistic, and even though it's so unrealistic, I would say it's unrealistic now. You will never know what happened in the future, but it's so unrealistic now. But still, the problems that I described, it was so funny and so relatable, and I just love it. And I need to read it again because I didn't annotate it, and this is a shame. I read this twice and didn't annotate it. It's time to read it a third time. But I think I'll wait for the special edition with the Henry POVs that comes out in October. I already pre-ordered it. I just need it. I need it. Also from Casey McQuiston was Wonderstop. This is also a 5-star for me. This is about August, who moves to New York, and she loves, like, she goes to, I think, the university, and in the substation she met Jane, and she meets her every day from that point on, and at some point she get noticed that Jane always wear the same clothes and don't really remember her, and then they start a conversation, and this is the moment when August realized that something is odd. And I just love the story between Jane and August, and to be honest, I didn't expect the story how it goes. It goes more in the sci-fi direction, but just a little bit of a touch. So this is why it's still a romance for me and not a sci-fi fantasy book. So this is why it's here, but it doesn't matter. It's a best book, so we ignore the fact on which genre it is. But both, oh, they have my heart. I just really, if I could go on a date with a fictional character, it would be August. To be honest, I can't decide, but August will be one of them. I just love them. Of course it's on the list. Of course. I need to say, I saw this book on BookTube before I saw it on BookTok. I spend much time on a day on TikTok, but not that much that I really say that I am deep into BookTok. But this was one book of the month pick, and it was praised as a whale of fan fiction. So it's just based on Kylo Ren and Rey fan fiction. And I like Star Wars. I would not say that I love it over much, that I want to decorate my whole apartment like that. I just have too much franchise that I want to use for that. Like Marvel or Harry Potter, Doctor Who. But I still enjoy it, really. And when I liked something about the new movies that came out a few years ago, this was Kylo Ren and Rey. And I just love it. And after this got praised as a whale of fan fiction, I just really needed to read this. And it was the best thing of it, I think the most description that I would say that this is really a whale of fan fiction that is based off. I would say it's on the how the character is described, but not really in the rest of the way. So I would say it's not really a whale of fan fiction. I was kind of disappointed at that point, but on the other side, we don't need published fan fiction in the world. Let's see after. Okay, I just want to mention it after seeing some things today. So it's about Olive. She works at a university. She is a third year PhD candidate, and she works on, she searched on the pancreas cancer stuff, and she tried to convince her best friend to date her ex-boyfriend, but her best friend Anne doesn't want to date the ex-boyfriend of Olive, which is, first of all, great. This is the friend that Olive needed, but also thanks for not dating him, because then we didn't get the story. So Olive decided that she fakes to fake being on a date, and she kissed the first dude that walks straight in front of her, and it is the professor of the school, of the university, Adam. What was his last name? Adam Carson. And then the story goes on. It's not her professor. I need to say that I'm not the big fan of like these kind of professor-student relationship. The only thing that makes it less horrible for me is that they both are closer in age than in different stories that I read. Like, okay, Adam Carson is still in his mid-30s, but Olive is also not in the beginning of her 20s. She's a little bit older. That's why it makes it not that bad. It's still bad. We ignore that, we ignore that. It's like cheesy Raylo fanfiction romance. What do I want from the story? And I just love it. I just love the way that Olive and Adam have a conversation with each other, how they both talk. This was also like this dry as humor that I really liked, and I saw myself in the persons who were talking, because I thought, oh, I'm in the same way like that. And I really loved it and enjoyed it, and I need to read it again because I read the Kindle version, and then afterwards finally my physical copy arrived without the TikTok sticker. This is the biggest flex of history that you can have for this book, that you order it in December and it doesn't have a TikTok sticker on the front, who is not removable. Now let's get on to the thrillers. So the first thriller on this list is Verity by Colleen Hoover, and I say this is definitely a thriller. This is not a romance book. I was not sure in the start of reading this what this is, but it's definitely not a romance book. Let's start with that. So I was kind of skeptical for Colleen Hoover's books because I'm not that big of a fan of her work. Like, I read It Ends With Us, I read some previous work from her, and it was okay, but I was not overwhelmed by it. And then I read Verity. And in Verity it's about Lauren Ashley, who writes books, but she's not really successful, and then the publishers she works for ask her to write the psycho thrillers from Verity Crawford to the end. And she was like, okay, I do that, what can I lose? And so she drives to the house where Verity lives. She had an accident, so that's why she's no longer able to write the stories. And Lauren meets her husband Jeremy, and she falls in love with Jeremy. And while they living there and she writes the story, she finds something that is really concerning, and this is where the story goes on. And first of all, I was not really that kind of impressed in the beginning, but the more I read on the story, and then the thing that Lauren finds is a manuscript, and when you read the parts of the manuscript, I was so shocked by it, what stands there. And then there was the plot in the end, and I was so shocked by the plot. And then there was a plot to a plot, and then a plot to a plot to a plot. And I was just blown away by the fact what I just read, and this was so mind-fucking, and I just loved it. And this was one of my 5 stars this year, and I just genuinely was surprised by it. The next one is one book I read in because of the Twillathon that I joined, which was an amazing time, by the way. And this was Final Girls by Riley Sager. I just love the story. This is about Quincy, who survived a massacre 10 years ago, and she tries to have a normal life, but she is one of the final girls, and she's in a group with 2 other girls, women who are also final girls, and then one of those girls got murdered, and now the murderer is behind each final girl. And Quincy tries to find out who murdered the final girl, and on the other side survive, and then you get this kind of flashbacks of what happened 10 years ago. And like I said with People Meet on Vacation, I really liked that also in the Whitey Sager books, that you get a flashback scene from 10 years ago, what happened there, and then you read more about the current situation, and it goes on and on and on, and I just genuinely love it. One thing that a little bit bothered me while reading it was that I guessed it right who is the murderer. I just first thought maybe it's this person, and I thought it was kind of stupid that I thought this was this person, because why should it be? And in the end it was the person. I just don't get it. In the end I understand why the person was the murderer, but my first thought about this person being the murderer, I was like, why should the person be the murderer? Like, how was the connection there? And I was blown away, and I really liked it. So I can definitely recommend this to you. I also read in Thriller Town White Smoke. I just love it. The story was so funny. Not so funny, but it's about Marigold, and her family wins a giveaway, and they win a house at a place where the last 30 years no one lives, and then they move there, and it's kind of creepy. Like, I would never accept that giveaway, because who the fuck wants to live somewhere where the last 30 years didn't anybody lives? Like, no. This is the beginning of a horror movie that I not want to be part of. And so the story goes on, and they are in this house, and this is haunted, and you try to figure out, or Margaret tries to figure out what happened in this place, and no one believes her, and all the feelings that she has. It was also relatable and kind of funny to read, and also really scary, and I really loved it because of the whole reason, and I just can really recommend this to you. Then the last one of the thriller list, and I will consider this as a thriller, is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Himide. It's about Devon and Shamaka. They are the only black persons on this whole school. The rest of it is just white. And there's Ace, who tries to ruin both their life, and they both try to figure out together who Ace is. And this whole story was in the end so fucked up. I just sat there reading the end, and I was like, this is unbelievable. First of all, it was really amazing, and on the other side, unbelievable. I was so shocked and blown away. And after reading reviews and talking really kind of impressions that other ones have to the book, I was just blown away, and I really love this book, and everyone should read this. And now let's get to the final book. The final book is my non-fiction book, and this is from Isabella Allende, and the English edition of it called Soul of a Woman, and it's out of Isabella Allende's perspective, and she talks about it, how it was to be to grow up in Lima, where the kind of the living situation for women is not the best, and to experience the first women's rights movements in the 60s, and how the current situation is in the world for women. And this whole book was just so, it was so sad, it was so informative, and the perspective out of her perspective, growing up in this kind of country, and which is still like the same like in the 60s, and to the woman, it was just heartbreaking. And this whole book felt like talking to a grandma, not my grandma, but to some old woman. Like, she is, I'm sorry, she is old now, but I really loved it, and everyone should read this. And there was some information in it I already know, but it's never too late to learn things new or different things out of the perspective. Oh, you get what I mean. It was one of the best feminist book that I read in 2021. So this was all. This was all the romance, thrillers, non-fiction books that I gave 5 stars in 2021, and this completes all the books that I give 5 stars. I really hope that you enjoy this video. I really hope that you maybe have also 5 stars in this or want to read some of the books. I can really recommend every single book of this list. And this video is of course not sponsored. I almost purchased all of themselves. 2 of them was gifted to me, but like this was purely me meeting vacation and white smoke. But the rest I paid all by myself, and I just love all the books, and I really hope that you find some new books in here in this list. And then I hope you had an amazing day, an amazing month, and all my social media is linked down in the description down below if you want to follow me there so you don't miss anything. You can follow me so you don't miss any video, and then I will see you in my next video. Bye!